Hello, my name is William Lewis Humbuckle Jr. and I'm here with my wife.
Hi, I'm Carinia.
And we're doing part 2. We made our list and we checked it twice.
He's been naughty, I've been nice.
Good. And we talked about being committed, being all in. You know, you got to be in this relationship to go somewhere. And if you really, really want to move in direction, then you have to start meeting each other's needs. You have to start communicating. And this is where we want to identify some of the things that are symptoms and failures of not meeting each other's needs.
Yes.
And this is the real deal. This is raw. We're going to just be raw as we can without being too explicit. But we all know what happens when your needs are not being met. You're frustrated, you're angry, you separate. It's just so many different things when needs are not being met. But let's be honest. What is the big thing? What is the biggie when needs aren't met? When you go outside your partner and your relationship and you seek it somewhere else, you get the A word. It is
adultery.
Oh my gosh.
I'm sorry.
I kind of told you this.
Okay, adultery.
Okay. All right.
True.
No, but for real, it is when you meet needs outside of your partner, what happens is adultery. That's the essence of adultery. And a lot of people think of adultery as the physical act, like this person has had intimacy with this person, and that's adultery. Well, I'm here to tell you, and one of the scriptures I love out of the Bible, Jesus says, if a man looks at a woman in his eyes and he lusts for her, he's committed adultery in the heart. And in this world, in this generation we live in, and in relationships, how many times is adultery committed on social media and internet?
True.
You know, we're not on social media for those reasons. We have our Instagram channel, we have TV and podcasts, but as far as our social internet presence goes, because we know there's danger of committing adultery in your relationship online. People from your past communicating to your old partners. That's adultery as well, because you're not happy. Your needs aren't met, and he won't ever talk to you. But Bob or Joe or Mike, oh, I know him, he's from back in the day. Let me just talk to him, because at least he's listening. That's adultery. Let me talk to somebody else, mentally thinking about somebody else, spiritually bringing somebody else in to your inner space, your inner peace. Online, I can't begin to tell you. I don't know what it is from a guy perspective. I'm gonna hit that, but from a woman's perspective, what do you feel about this online? These Facebooks, these Instagram, these posting these pictures, all these comments. I know you watch a lot of Instagram, and you have your favorites, Grandma Daisy. But how do you feel coming from a woman perspective about the internet and the ability of people crossing that line?
I think women enjoy using social media to definitely affirm some of the situations and things that they like, because as a woman we look at different sites of our health, how we fashion, the latest trends, And so we may take selfies and put pictures out there to just really get that kind of feedback and that attention. A lot of people are out there on social media dating people that they've never seen. And I think the risk is that there are so many perpetrators out there who are building these bogus sites. You know, you have your fake accounts and you may be dipping into something that's not even real. And so as a married woman, there's a fine line between just having fun with Instagram as opposed to just putting yourself out there to attract predators that could be a potential threat to your marriage, to your relationship. And one rule of thumb, I never post anything that I would be ashamed for my husband to see. I never have conversations or reply back to someone who may be reaching out to me that I can't show my husband. Say, hey, honey, look at this. Because number one, you don't want to hide anything. And number two, you just need to be cautious because there are predators. And I think that sometimes women innocently entertain this because it's fun. You know, they like the attention because their needs aren't being met. But also, in the long run, it can borderline get you in trouble. And that's where that thought process, something that started very innocently, can lead into more and more attention. Next thing you know, you're in the same vicinity. Oh, I was at this place last weekend, and then you're meeting up with this so-called internet person, and then it's something innocent turns into a lunch date or a dinner date, and then next thing you know, you're all wrapped in because your needs didn't get met. You got a little attention here. Now you're full on adultery. So what could start out as something as a simple post could lead to a conversation, could lead to a meeting, could lead to intimacy, and you're all in, and you're looking back like, where did that come from? How did this begin? And what we're saying is adultery is just not the act of intimacy. It's not just cheating on your spouse. It can start with a thought, and it definitely can start with you feeling some kind of way because your needs aren't met. And so we just want to kind of give you heads up, some encouragement to say, our last video was so important because if your needs aren't being met, this can lead to you being in the act of adultery and stepping out on your spouse.
And from what I heard you say is that, and what we're trying to say, adultery is tied in. All three of these are like sisters, like physical adultery, emotional adultery, spiritual adultery, mental adultery. All three of these is adultery. You know, let's put a name on it. If you're seeking something outside of your partner, you're committing adultery. And it's impossible to have a winning relationship if you are in adultery. And today in 2020, the biggest weapon against marriages and relationships is social media and online, because you feel it's private. Nobody has to know. I can do this easily on my phone, at work. It's convenient, but it's deadly. And that's why the divorce rate and people are separating and people got all these things going on. And it's started without the needs being met. Then it turned into something horrible. And you got these divorces and broken homes, all because needs were not met. And you created adultery. Let's talk about something else. Let's say you're not interested in somebody else. Let's say you're not on social media. Let's say you're not sending messages or texting or posting pictures of somebody else. Let's just say you keep this very private. Let's say it's to yourself. Self-gratification. And I want to talk about it from a male perspective on this one, and I'm sure it goes both ways. Now, the internet is full of images, pornographic images, all these type of things, and it is a billion-dollar industry.
It's an addiction.
And it is addiction. And when a guy feels like, and this is really bad for men, because I do believe this industry is geared towards men, and it can be very difficult to say, my wife is not meeting my need, but I'm okay. I just go online and all my crazy desires and dreams or fantasy, you can find it online. You can it's there. It's right readily available on the same phone and device or computers or whatever. And you can gratify yourself and you don't need your partner. That creates so many issues for men because it you can't appreciate your partner. You can't truly see your partner without seeing the other side. So that's when we talked about the list and realistic expectations. Because here's the thing, you have to ask yourself, the need that you feel like you have, where did it come from? If your desires came from images and video online that are X-rated, it came from a bad source that is not designed to build and sustain relationships. You know, your wife, your partner is not an entertainer. She's your wife and she's your partner. But if you look at entertainers and you feel like that's your need, it came from a bad source. I'm gonna say this again because I think men, we gotta hear it and it's gotta be honest. It comes from a bad source that you cannot build a relationship on. So what is the alternative, guys? If you want your relationship to go, what is the alternative? Alternative is turn it off. You'd be surprised how perspective changes, mindset changes, attitude changes over time when you can just focus on one woman and not focus on 100,000 images and things that you see.
Well, honey, I just want to kind of piggyback on that because I think from a female standpoint, it may not be as great of an issue, but women do have struggles with pornography and images and things like that. But also, if you know that your spouse is struggling with this addiction, this is the time for you to gear yourself up to, number one, fix yourself up. You know, your spouse shouldn't always come home and see you in your sweats and ponytail and food stains everywhere because you're slaving in the kitchen and you're taking care of the kids or, you know, you're doing all these things. Sometimes.
So, in essence, guys, I'm going to throw this one out there. If your woman got the nasty pink robe with the stains and a knot and the slippers, go buy something nice.
Okay, that
so
works.
She can look nice.
Okay, that works too.
Yeah, that was just a nugget.
I like the shopping aspect of it.
Okay.
But yeah, so ladies, I definitely think, you know, just fix yourself up just a little bit. Sometimes it's okay to wear something form-fitting. It's okay.
You fine too. I had to tell you that.
So it's really okay to treat your husband to something different. He shouldn't always see the same look all the time because if he is attracted to all of that on social media and he always coming home to you looking a certain kind of way, spice it up. It's okay. Spice it up. Do something new. Do something different. I'm not saying go hang from the chandelier, but if you can do that.
Do we have chandeliers?
No, we don't.
Oh, okay.
Or put a pole in your house. What I am saying is you can definitely put on some heels if you can. Find you a nice, cute little outfit and just take a moment and do something nice. Because if that's his desire, he would appreciate it so much more if it's come to you. Don't worry about being overweight. Mm-mm. Don't worry about being underweight. Your husband don't even care about that. All he wants is that attention, that affection, and your confidence.
Absolutely.
When you're confident in who you are and how you look,
attractive.
then you got him hooked, reeled, put him in the fryer, cook it, done.
And the fact of the matter is, and I want to throw one other aspect in there, and I still go back to trust. You know, guys, you know, trust is a big part of your woman's attitude towards you. If she feels like she's competing, that's not building a whole lot of trust. If you know, she feels like, you know, and vice versa, you know, you trusting her that she's coming from a good spot, that is what it is really built on, because when you know that that's coming from a good space and you trust her and you know it's real, man, it's great. It's wonderful. Now, we talked about, let me go back to adultery. We talked about self-gratification. This is all about needs not being met. And the last one is separation. Like, we turn our back to each other. We don't sleep in the bed together. We don't look at each other. Let me turn back.
Oh, okay.
Be that long. I missed you.
Okay.
I did miss you a little bit. We talked about the separation. You know, how many times do we hear people say in relationships, I'm married, but I feel alone. I feel like, you know, we stay in the same house together, but it's dead.
Yeah.
It's cold. And it leads to falling, I don't say falling out of love, but loss of love, depression, health problems. Because relationships is the one thing that can stress you totally out. And is it really worth it? It's a question. If you love your partner, you should kind of want to meet their needs. And is it really worth it if you have an issue or you have an argument or something is going on where you say, I'm not going to meet your need because I'm mad? Is it worth it? I mean, do you feel like, even from a woman, because I know a lot of times women and men shut it off because their needs ain't met. Is it worth it when you think about the stress and the things it causes?
I think for women, because we like to have the last say so. And we like to feel like we are right and you're wrong. And so oftentimes we get that gratification that we won this argument. You know, we shut down, we get what we want, and he's apologized and we win. But in actuality, you never win. Because that time you spent being mad and separated and quiet, you've lost so much valuable time. Some people go for weeks and months, and you're just walking in the house, passing each other, not saying anything. Kids is like, what the heck is going on? It filtrates down to the whole house, and it's really not worth it for you to just say, I won that argument, or I got my way. No. The better thing to do is to, number one, communicate about it. Look at those needs. If his needs are realistic, be willing to meet those needs. Because I'm a firm believer that what you put into your marriage is what you're going to get out. And so even though sometimes it may not be what you're most comfortable with or it's out of your comfort zone, if it's realistic, then try something new. Because when you're sowing into your mate, you're going to get that back from him, and he's going to meet your needs. So, you know, it's not always good to be right. It's not always good to have the last say so. Yes, I'm saying that, and I'm guilty of that. I definitely like to have the last say so, but we've been married for 16 and a half years, and I've come to find out I pick and choose strategically what I want to argue about. And so
I don't argue at all.
And
I go
so
do something else.
everything is not worth arguing.
No, it's not.
So, you know, be smart about it. It's okay to disagree.
Now, I have one question for you. And I think this is something I really admire about you. And I really want you to address this. And I think we want to wrap this up. But I admire this quality about my wife. Truly, truly admire this. It's one of my, many of my admire. Got a lot of good qualities.
Okay.
All right. This quality I admire. You have the ability to be mad. And I'm going to say this again. You have the ability to be mad and still meet my needs. How do you do that? When you, I totally am upset, but what do you mean? I'm going to put my anger aside and I'm still going to love you in spite of you irritating me. How do you do that?
I think that it's a God thing.
That's the real answer.
I can't really take credit for it because it's back to what we were just saying. Is it really worth it? You know, my feelings get hurt. There are things that you may say to me that tick me off. But in the end, I feel like, but it's not worth losing a day over it. It's not worth us not sleeping together. It's not worth me kissing and saying, hey, I love you, goodbye. It's just really boils down to getting over it very quickly. The Bible is very clear about not letting the sun go down on your anger. Just getting over it. And then over time, you're going to realize what you were mad about really wasn't worth being mad about. And so I think for me, I spend a lot of time praying for my husband. I just want everybody to know that I don't always have to use this. I use this. And I spend a lot of time praying because I'm asking God not to just change him or fix him, but change me. Show me how to deal with him. Show me how to talk to him. Show me how to love him. Show me how to meet his needs. Good. And so as God changes me, I'm better in the relationship. So we're not a perfect couple. We do have our disagreements. Oh, yeah. But we try to resolve them very quickly. And I think in the long haul, that's better than to let weeks and weeks and weeks go by, because then you allow the enemy to get in and just put little seeds there. And then before you know it, you're caught up in something. And you're like, wow, where did this come from? So absolutely. I think definitely my prayer time, my walk with God helps me. And then just wisdom. Being wise. Like I said, if he's not doing something that you like, he didn't wash your car, are you gonna spend a whole week mad about that? Or are you gonna just take the car to the car wash and let them wash it? $5. Get over it.
But who bought the car? I'm sorry.
But anyway, so that's the stuff that I'm saying. You pick and choose what you want to argue about, like that right there. But he's a good guy. He's a good guy, and we are a work in progress.
Wow. Well, that's true. 16 years of work, and keep going. And that's why it's so important when you're in relationships or things are going on, to seek good wisdom, good advice, people that have been there, that have lived it, that have built a foundation. They have the wisdom to help you build a foundation. And the people that don't have it, a lot of times go to the wrong place for advice. And if Sally Sue ain't been in a relationship longer than 3 weeks, don't go ask her for relationship advice, because she gonna tell you, girl, you need to go get you somebody else, because he ain't about nothing. Did we say that? No. We're giving you wisdom and steps to build a winning relationship, things that we need so desperately in America, in our homes, for our future, for our children. We need good relationships, and we feel honored to be able to come back and say, this guys can work. These are some things that we use to work. Do we have all the answers? No, but we have a foundation. So I always like to recap so you hear what we're trying to say. So it's very clear. When we don't meet the needs, 3 things can happen: adultery, self-gratification, and separation. If you're looking and you be honest, if you're dealing with these issues, it stems from somewhere. And it's somewhere where each person is feeling like they're not getting what they need. That's how important it is. Now, to give you a preview of the next video, some people are hard-headed. They don't care. And sometimes our relationship has gotten really, really bad, where you're angry black woman, be careful. No, I'm kidding. You're spiteful, and it gets outright vicious. That's what we're going to talk about next. I'm William.
I'm Carinia from Losing to Winning.
And Marriage and Relationships.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye. Marriage is back. I'm William. This is my wife.
Hi, I'm Carinia.
And we have a book on our website
entitled
Marriage Nuggets.
Come on and check us out as soon as you can at hornbuckles.org. You're going to get some great tips on how to stay married to a man like this one as long as you can.
And how to make good choices and how to forget the bad ones.